Welcome to our podcast. For over 50 years, Hartford Family Institute has been Connecticut's premier psychotherapy institute, offering a certificate program for psychotherapists and healers and a certificate program for all others who would like to use this unique therapeutic modality for their personal and professional lives.
Hello, everyone. My name is Paul Garcia Lambert. I'm here with Stuart Alpert, Donna Baker Gilroy, and David Gilroy, and we are going to talk about relationships today. And we may even get a little deeper than we normally do. So we invite you to listen, and if you are interested, contact us. We would love to have you part of the training program or part of our human relations program that HFI offers. So sit back and enjoy. Why is it that my partner can get under my skin like nobody's business?
Well, I have one answer for that. In the deeper and more meaningful a relationship is, the deeper we're touched. Our feelings are touched, finished and unfinished places.
Suppose my relationship with my partner isn't that great, and they're still getting under my skin.
In that case, maybe it's the wrong relationship.
It's also what your relationship is to the feeling of need.
Yeah.
And so we enter into a relationship, whether it's good or bad, wanting our partner to be there for every single one of our needs. Like,
Yeah, I mean, part of a relationship is about having our unfinished places touched. And that is how we can be teachers for each other. So it would be for you to explore what is in your feeling of what's being touched that feels like it's under your skin.
So are you saying that I have an opportunity to grow when my partner is flaming me?
Absolutely.
absolutely, when your partner is flaming you, it's because you're blaming your partner for what's going on inside of you, as opposed to saying, the way you're being touched is this feeling inside of me. It's not true.
What do you mean?
If my partner is flaming me, it's because she needs to do some work.
Yeah, we've just had some experience with this one.
Actually, I used to say to Naomi, would you do your next session so I don't have to do mine?
Right. But you're right, Paul. That is how we can be teachers for one another. And sometimes people feel like it's the wrong relationship or I shouldn't be feeling what I'm feeling, when in truth, it's a way to grow and to explore those feelings.
So rather than me saying I can't stand my partner, I could say, what wounds is my partner
Exactly.
shining a light on
Yeah.
that I need to work on?
Or I can't stand what I'm feeling inside of myself.
Yeah.
Right, right. And so I have an opportunity as the apparently offended half of the partnership
Yeah.
to look in the mirror and say, what the heck is going on? This bothers me so.
And that's something you could do, and it might also be true that your partner is not skillful in certain ways of expressing herself.
Right.
Both can be true, but it's not about blame. It's still in discovering what that is about what's being touched.
And this kind of ongoing fight between couples is what I would call an impasse fight. It's a way of the couple being an impasse because both of them want to stay away from the deeper place of abuse that's still inside of them from their childhoods.
So if neither member of the partnership is willing to look deeper, you could expect that the fight will continue
forever.
forever.
For lifetimes. Yeah. And then maybe for generations.
For generations.
Yes.
Because I'm going to grow up and I'm going to watch my parents do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to seem normal to me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to look for a partner that's going to join me in this dance because I know how to do it.
Exactly.
You're going to look for a partner with the belief that you're going to fill me. You're going to make me feel better. Rather than what intimacy is all about are two people willing to share their process and take responsibility for themselves and be able to say, this is what I'm feeling. Can you be with me as I feel this? Rather than, can you be with me and take away the feeling I have?
I was going to say that that's why you see so many ads in the personal column saying, looking for a partner that will take away this bad feeling inside.
Well, obviously that's not true. But could you explain the wit behind your comment?
Well, I'm not sure there's any way. My joke is I'm interested in this subject purely for theoretical reasons. I don't have any skin in this game, really. And that is a pure lie.
Obviously.
I think all of us get into struggles in relationships. And actually, this subject is dear to my heart. Except in the moments when I really don't want to have to feel the bad feeling that Stuart's referring to. I don't really want to stop with it and make room for it inside of me.
So I'm just a tad lost as to where you're going. I understand where you're going, but I got caught in some briars along the way.
Well, that's probably because I'm myself at this moment are in some impasse.
Okay.
And there's a bad feeling inside of me that I don't want to go near.
Oh, get it.
And how does that impact your relationship?
Boy, what a tame question.
Can we get this guy out of here? Cool by the hills.
Well, the way it affects my relationship is my contribution to an ongoing fight.
And how I'm impacted is I start to feel angry and I don't always have the support to really ground in my anger and express it in a skillful way. And so then I join in and add fuel to the fire.
Don't pour fuel on top of David.
So you're saying that you need support to have your anger and to be able to have a flexible container for your anger.
Yeah, to even know that I'm feeling angry, it takes me a while to know that's what I'm feeling.
So we need a flexible container for our anger. We need a flexible container for the feeling of need. For whatever flexible container for whatever all the solved energy and trauma is opening up in us. We need the ability to feel each of those in a very discreet way. If we don't, then we become unskillful.
I'm clear that growing up, all I remember is my parents biting. And so ways that I adapted to that is partly to block it out, and never having a way to have either of them talk about how they were impacting me. And so that still lives in my system when I start to have a reaction in a very alone place. And it takes me a while to, usually during the night, words will come to me that I want to say that helps me know, I'm feeling angry.
Good.
I'm just picturing you in the middle of the night grabbing it.
This is what I want to say.
So yeah, the last couple days, we've been in and out of a fight. And both of us, I think, have been highly skillful about recognizing that and stopping and at least starting to breathe into what's underneath that.
Mhm.
Then everything gets peaceful, and then all of a sudden we're back in.
Right.
So there's something else, at least for me, I know. So I
Well,
haven't.
keep referring back, and I know you referred in this way before, of how good you were feeling the day before.
Yeah.
I was feeling so good.
So feeling good. I'm feeling open and alive. Makes room for the next piece of old assault energy, old abuse to open up in your system.
That's right. In fact, it's to be expected.
And then we ask the question to me, well, is what's my relationship to that experience? Do I have any consciousness of that experience, or does the experience open up in me in some kind of primitive way that takes over, rather than I'm aware of and I have consciousness and I can breathe into it and let myself know this is the oldest soft energy.
Well, of course, I can only speak for myself, but it most definitely opens up in a primitive way.
And you were mentioning need, and yesterday I did 2 medical procedures. And this often happens when I most feel I need a calm, peaceful connection, and that's not in the place that you were, and that's um, often a time that we get into that kind of conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that again?
I really needed a lot yesterday. I had 2 medical procedures, and I really wanted David to be there. And he'd had a very difficult night, and the cat woke him up in the middle of the night. It's just on and on.
So you needed comfort.
I needed comfort and calmness, and that wasn't where you were at in the morning.
I just want to insert, I'm pretty sure our cat understands energy.
Daisy definitely responds to the energy. And I had had a very difficult procedure the day before, which felt like torture, and that was horrible.
Yeah.
And I was already really thrown by that. Yeah. I started to pass out, actually.
Wow.
It was a simple procedure. I had my hearing test at Costco in one ear. From the scans you could see was really, really blocked, very deep. So she said, go to a walk-in center. Don't try to do it yourself. You have to have it professionally done, which I did. And the tech person that came in had the hardest energy. Even when she took my blood pressure, she ripped the cup off. And I'm thinking, oh, this is a little much. And then when she came in to do the procedure, it was horrible. She didn't alert me what the noise was going to be and the pressure was going to be. and she didn't let up. I mean, she had this whole bottle. The whole thing had to be squirted in my ear over and over again. And finally, by the second time she filled that, I said, wait a second, I'm getting dizzy. And I started to pass out. She called a different person in who was a nurse practitioner who had a beautiful, gentle energy, and I could come back. And I said to her, I said, I'm not trying to blame anyone, but that person's energy is very, very frightening. And so, I mean, I ended, but this woman was wonderful, and she finished the procedure, and it was all about the energy. And I said, please, anybody has this, let them know it's going to be a very loud noise, going to be tremendous pressure, and it's going to continue. And so I cried all the way home. It was a terrible experience with a procedure that shouldn't have been that frightening. So then yesterday, because of that food thing I had to have a scan of my whole digestive system. And at any rate, yesterday morning I needed some gentleness. Um, we were in different places.
So are you able to be gentle with yourself?
I was the morning to begin with, knowing David was in a different place, I could say, okay, I'm in charge of my own ways that I react to my feelings and what I need. But that reached a limit because it felt like the level of anger and upset you were in continued. Like when we were driving to the hospital and all with crazy drivers and on and on and on. That I went past a place that I felt I could just support myself until later in the afternoon where I could connect to my anger and um have a protest.
Mm.
And that shifted things.
So are you saying that when you connected to your anger, it became clearer and more skillful?
I The beginning of expressing my anger, I wouldn't say was the most skillful I've ever expressed it. But I was going in the right direction. And we from experience know that whatever happens, we're always going to get through it. So we have that history to as a very solid foundation. So
We have a large bank account of faith about that.
yes, and David is a person who always takes a look at his conscience, and I would say probably to a greater extent than my willingness to look at my contribution. But I don't know if that's true. I might be putting myself down.
You might be.
Yeah. But the test came out good, by the way.
Right.
No, he said no tumors, no cancer. So, well, that's good.
I have a question.
Shoot.
That negative energy that you felt from that first lady, I know she's a lady, you're a lady, but
Yeah.
how would you deal in being in a relationship with a partner with that type of energy?
I divorced my first husband.
That's your answer. Skipper.
Cause you,
I put up with a lot over many years, and I still have some regret about the impact of my children. But I did the best I could. And eventually, through therapy, had enough support to say, we're getting divorced.
I would say that the person I need understanding and I need comfort. Can you give me that? Can you be with me as I feel my need for understanding and comfort?
and what if they don't know how?
I would ask them, do you want to know how? Do you want to know what I'm saying? Do you want to know how? Do you have an interest in meeting me and joining me? And that takes the ability to say that from a simple relational way rather than a blaming way. Takes a ability to be conscious of yourself and be okay with the need and be okay with not immediately getting what you feel like you need and making room for that experience and still being relational as opposed to blaming it.
Stuart, can I ask you to expand on your use of the word need? Need is a very wide term. I need air. If I'm going into a relationship, I'm probably not looking for my partner to give me air because that's a need I'm going to take care of myself. What kind of needs are going to be what kind of needs have you run across that would be subconscious in nature from the point of view of the person with the need that they're looking for their partner to satisfy?
I want to always feel a deep feeling of connection with you so I don't have to feel anything difficult in myself. I want to fuse with you. I want always a feeling of such connection that I don't have to feel that there's a place in me that would want to be dependent, that needs love, that needs comfort, that needs understanding. And I don't have the ability to be able to say, I need love right now. I want you to be with me as I feel my need for love. I need warmth. I need contact.
So I want you to meet all of my needs without me having to ask.
And so many people, so many couples feel like the perfect relationship is when I never have to ask and you always know what I need.
Mm-hmm. And that isn't real.
And it's not real. It's not possible.
It's not real. It's not possible. And I think so many people go in looking for that from their partner. Yeah.
In fact, that is
Absolutely. They believe that that's the way it's supposed to be.
Right. Right. So there's a cultural belief
Yeah.
that this is what a relationship is supposed to
If
be.
you love
find the right
No.
person, you're all set.
Yeah, if you love me, you would know. That type of thing.
Right.
Because to feel that I need this can touch whatever old abuse, old assault is in me. And I want to stay away from that.
What you're saying really connects with me. When we were just talking, and I'm sitting here feeling very vulnerable. And as I kept making room for the feeling of feeling vulnerable, I'm feeling so vulnerable I can't hold the thought and stay conscious. Hang on a sec. I became aware that I was starting to, as I kept breathing, I started to feel a feeling of terror. And I think the idea of being aware of what I need and being able to acknowledge it and reach out for it, once upon a time, was the sure route to possible death. It was not safe to say things like that. No. I'm aware of what's underneath of all this for me is I'm feeling really vulnerable.
And
This is the most dangerous thing of all. And I want to say I need love.
and what you said and the energy you said it sounds invitational.
Well, that's good.
It has the energy of invitation.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like we could use the word skillful in your presentation.
Let's not go too far here.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Go for it.
When I can be aware of that level of feeling vulnerable.
Yeah.
And when I can be aware of that level of feeling terrified. And know that the threat is not over there.
And be with me as I feel my terror.
Yeah.
And yet, it's interesting also how the old abuse, trauma, so lives in our nervous system
Mm-hmm.
that it's beyond our thoughtful mind when it opens up, and it breaks through whatever energy of control we want for ourselves, not to feel the old abuse. So when it opens up, it just can break us, feel like we're breaking apart. Some part of us is breaking down,
Mm-hmm.
and then we begin to flail. Flailing could be anger, could be upset.
Just floods us.
Yeah, yes. And that ultimately we need to be skillful about that. And what I mean by skill, ultimately, it may not be at the moment, it may be 10 minutes later, maybe the next day, to be able to say, wow, that's what happened. I want to come back. I want to hold the intensity of what just flooded.
It also, I'm reminded that in my work with couples, invariably, I would say in every session, it becomes obvious that each person is having a very similar feeling touch, but each their own versions of it. Because that's what I needed was to feel loved. And, so we were coming up against a place where we both had the same need, and at the time we're not in the place where we could be skillful about it, expressing there.
Even that's always a dilemma when both partners in a couple have a need.
Yeah.
And I want that my need's more important than yours.
Well, mine was because I had those procedures. Mine was the most important. That's what goes on.
How do we hold
Today, his was important. He had the medical procedure.
couple hold that we both have a need?
Yes, exactly.
Mm, mm.
Exactly. The other piece this is reminding me about couples work, couple sessions, is it can be helpful for one part of the couple, each their own turn, seeing a therapist work with their partner because the partner can often express things in a different way than how they might be expressing it in the relationship. And people can have, oh, I never heard you say that. Oh, I didn't know that's what was happening. And it can be a way of understanding each other in the deeper way. So I often am touched by how that can happen in the couple session.
Yeah. Say that again.
Well, there's an example of it as Stuart speaking and Paul speaking and different feelings are being touched. Like I have a clearer understanding of what was happening for you. And I don't know if the same is true for you as I'm talking about what my experience was. And so that happens in a couple session where the therapist is speaking with perhaps one part of the couple and the other part of the couple is hearing something in a different way. That can be very, very helpful. Leads to a deeper one.
Working with a couple this week, and I was doing some very basic communication work. One person, one part of the couple said something, and I asked the other person, I said, what did you hear her say? Could you repeat it? And then I asked the first person, do you feel understood? Or is there something more that you need to say to make sure that your partner really understands you? And so is that basic communication of being able to repeat back, this is what I hear you say, and to make sure that is what's being communicated
Right.
and you're being heard.
And that everything reminds me of different things. What you're saying reminds me of what Thich Nhat Hanh always says. If you're not feeling compassion, there's something you don't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed to, why do you feel that way?
What's the matter with you?
The hell is wrong with you?
Right.
I have a question. What about two different mindsets straining the relationship on goals and expectations? How long do you stay with that? And how do you navigate through that?
Can you give us an example?
Yes. The male wants the kids to be raised a certain way. The future family goals to be a certain way. And just to practice unity a certain way within the family. And the wife completely, I don't know if the word is oblivious to those wants and needs. So causing her two different journeys to seem like in a relationship.
Mhm.
But you want to stay in the relationship for the family's sake, for the kids' sake. But it's just two different mindsets. That's not allowing deeper love, deeper connections, because not even the surface can come together, if that makes sense.
Totally.
How long do you stay with that, and how do you navigate that? How do you build that to come? And also, it might be the fear of her trauma not allowing her to even want to feel, or she's just riding along because she feels safe, but doesn't want anything else more than safety.
So one of the ways we talk about that territory is when we're talking about the layers of the personality. We touched on it in this session. We're talking about impasse. And that's a place of stuckness. If we start at the beginning of the layers, there's role layer that's about what I learned as a kid. Like the role I feel like I need to play all the time.
Ooh,
Um,
that's deep.
and underneath that is impasse. And under that is what we call death layer. And so in the thing we've just been talking about, I'm trying to navigate inside of me whether to just talk about myself or both of us. I think for both of us, there's a place of terror. And terror is a feeling like you don't know if you're going to survive. It's the feeling of expecting to die pretty soon.
If I were working with that couple, I would say there's a place where the two of you can meet in a very deep and understanding way. Would you want that? I would ask each member of the couple, do you want that? Do you want to meet and really understand each other? And the question I would ask each of you, how does the continuing to fight serve both of you? And would you like to give up the fight to find a place of mutual respect and love? Would you want that?
And what you're touching on is really one of the major places where couples can get stuck about how we raise our children. Because what could have more meaning than how we raise our children? Yeah.
I think they need strict rules. Well, I just want to give them freedom.
Right. My parents were strict and I turned out okay. Right.
And that becomes a place of impasse where that deeper question is, do you want to find a place where both of what you need, both of the way you want to bring structure and freedom to your kids, both have a place that can live in this family? It's not one or the other.
What I hear in all these solutions or all of these approaches is an invitation for each partner to embark on a journey of self-exploration and healing, becoming aware of their own process and how that plays in the relationship. And if I can respect my process and my partner's process, then we are on the path for a deeper, fulfilling relationship.
Yeah. In other words, you're not wrong. Correct. You have a point of view. Yeah. That needs understanding, and I have a point of view that needs understanding. Let's see if we can meet and understand one another.
And we both have history, yes, and process and trauma.
I was going to say we both have a process. It involves all these layers.
I like what you said about role, and that comes from the upbringing. Like, I believe I have a certain role
Mm-hmm.
because in a way I was brought up and what I saw. And then your partner can have a totally different uh, perspective of what her role should be as a mother,
Hey.
or not understanding what a mother entails because of not having that support of growing up. So it's really about communication and understanding and respecting each other's role, right?
Not necessarily. I want to understand and respect my partner, whether or not how they're going to identify with the role they've used to make it this far in life. If they want to continue that role and I want to continue being their partner, then I'm going to say, okay, well, this is what I got. But if they are willing to go deeper and recognize that I used this role to make it this far, I don't have to continue this role if I don't want to. And what's that going to look like for our relationship?
Absolutely.
Or I can continue this role because I believe it has importance to it. But I don't have to be rigid about it.
Yeah.
I can have room for the other person at the same time.
What about basic conversation um, of interest? Not having the same. It's pretty tough.
She does not appreciate Jimi Hendrix to the level that I do.
And how does that make you feel?
Terribly alone.
Now imagine that feeling on almost every level of conversation.
Well, I go back to what you were saying, Stuart. Would both people want to get to know each other more? And listen to what's important to the other person?
And then the question also to ask is, what is it like for me? I'm taking on what you're saying. So what is it like for me to care about my interest and not need you to join me?
Yeah.
To really enjoy my interest and my love and be able to do it with myself or reach out to someone to do it with me and not blame you for not doing it with me and not having the same interest.
And seeing where there is common ground. But we don't have to just agree or be interested in all the same things.
My next response is going to be funny, but what if she says, and she knows it because she stated it before she even went into her spiel, I know you don't care about this, but I'm going to tell you this anyway.
And tell me what's the very center of what you want me to know about you, is what I would say to her. And I really want to understand the very center of what's important to you.
This is the most polite way to say it.
Taste?
Say polite, and I want to say grounded and skillful.
Yeah. Good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because you're reading the code of what's being said to you and responding to that by undoing the code. Yeah.
Like that. Question answered.
And we also need support. We can't always be that skillful. There are times we aren't. And it takes time.
I was gonna say it ends up. My other question was gonna be, how do two therapists get into it? So
Well, that's where in the future podcast where we talk about our book, we'll also talk about a process called beginning anew, which is one major support for how to work through conflict in a way that's not blaming and a way that creates safety to be able to work through the hard things. So as human beings, we do get into tough situations, but we also have a lot of skill in knowing that when we're a day later, perhaps, or sometimes even an hour later, there's a way that we can come from a different energy and be able to talk about what happened.
And even in the most intense disagreement, where we're being the most unskillful with each other, there's still part of us that kind of knows the lay of the land of all of this.
Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna ask you, try to outskill each other?
No, I don't think so. I haven't had that experience.
Oh, I do sometimes, but I know it's bullshit.
Well, you say something if you feel like, yeah. Yeah.
Like when I'm saying something and it's coming from what I'm saying is really trying to defend against having to feel something inside of me. So therapists are people.
Yeah.
And
And so I want to add, I keep thinking of things that get touched here in this conversation, but also our position in our families matters. David's the oldest of four, and he can have a big brother, or I'm the one that's gonna knows how things are gonna be. I have a brother who's 8 years older than I am. So I had my big brother, so sometimes that can fit together and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, I have a tongue-in-cheek joke that's also true about myself. I often say this to my clients. I want to let you know that I am 100% enlightened, except when I'm not.
so that's how therapists get into it.
That there's a place of our own, all of us, our own humanness, and our own unfinished places that we're still dealing with. And the more we know that, and the more we could accept that about ourselves, the more we bring in a depth of skillfulness and humanness into our relationships and give up blame.
Because without getting into it on occasion, there isn't any growth.
Right. Right.
You kind of got to come up against each other at times. You get overwhelmed with feelings.
Both David and I are incredibly appreciative and grateful for the therapy that we've had. And we can see how it's helped to heal and undo this, how unskillful both of our sets of parents were. And in that, as we undo that, we also have more compassion for seeing how our parents got to be the way they were. But really appreciating that we can see that and see that we've healed a lot of that trauma. I think there's always room to heal more. I hope through my entire lifetime I have more to learn. But I'm so appreciative of how therapy has helped me have the life that I have now.
So if someone's watching this, I think this is a perfect segue. how would they become a therapist under HFI?
Well, to come to HFI, if they're interested in therapeutic training, they need to either be in school to become a therapist, because we don't license people. They have to go through an accredited program to do that. And sometimes people who are already therapists come to our training because for whatever reason, either they experience burnout or they're just not satisfied, and they need more skill that we're able to offer to help them live the experience as therapists in a way that doesn't lead to burnout.
And we have a roadmap to understand every issue that a person is in, both individually and couples, families. We understand the underlying reason for all the conflict, for all the upset, and have a way of teaching that is very, very expansive. And at the same time that it's expansive, basically we don't work hard. And that our goal is to help people be conscious of the way they are, not change themselves. Just live conscious, bring consciousness. And the more an individual, a couple, a family brings consciousness, the more there's a flow of energy and an acceptance of anything that they feel. And it decreases the fight. As Thich Nhat Hanh said, if you're having a difficult time, go deeper in yourself. And the deeper you go, the more there's inviting energy that you're opening into, and you're inviting the other person to be with you in a deeper way. And that's just energetic.
I want to put in the plug for our human relations program, because there are some people, myself included, that I didn't know I was going to become a therapist. And I started with the human relations program. I had worked in the healthcare field, and so I always wanted to help people. But through my experience with the human relations program, that's how I made the decision to go to graduate school and become a therapist. So some people have, through that part of the program, discovered that, oh, this is what I want to do. Yeah.
That's the path I took. Same path.
So HFI, body-centered psychotherapy, is unique in terms of what we teach. We invite even very experienced therapists into, because we have a way of, like you said, understanding all process, both emotional, physical, pain and illness. There's a totality of what we know that we bring into the training program for therapists and also.
And we've had a couple of physicians and a couple of psychiatrists that have come through the program. Yeah. And a number of people was in HRP that were attorneys and decided to become therapists.
So are we complete for today?
It looks like a good way to stop.
Okay.
Wow. Once again, this has been fun.
It is.
Yeah.
I love it.